Okay. We got another problem with the Turner thesis, and that is that this is Sitting Bull. The Indians, basically, there's a genocide going on with Indians. I mean, I'm not going to mince words. The largest mass executions are during the Indian Wars. The U.S. Army conducts winter campaigns where they basically go up in the middle of winter, and their purpose in the winter campaigns is basically to destroy the resources that the Indians have put away to survive the winter. It's not actually to kill Indians. It's to kill all the stash that they have there so that they can survive through the winter. They're going to destroy their wheat and their corn and their whatever they put away to survive. There is a fundamental culture clash going on between Native Americans and Europeans on the frontier, and it is entirely to their detriment. And even the military guys are going to agree to this, right? If you ask, Sheridan, General Philip Sheridan, and these guys fought in the Civil War about the Indians. They're not surprised that the Indians are revolting or fighting against them. They realize that it's a struggle of survival, and that they're basically wiping them out. So this is not something that American military people sort of don't see. One of the main things they do that's going to wipe out the Indians is, once again, the railroads. The railroads, I think in your book they mentioned how one of the railroads had to wait 18 hours one time while a buffalo herd passed. That gives you some idea of the size of buffalo herds in the West. Some of the buffalo herds in the West supposedly were as large as states. States. Huge. Millions of buffalo. Buffalo herd. A lot of buffalo. So, they do two things. They basically send people out to kill buffalo, and they're going to basically sell their tongues and their skins. So you basically, you eat the buffalo meat. You just kill the buffalo, you skin it, you rip out its tongue, and you go on. And they actually will pull the train up, and then they'll stick their guns out the windows.
Oh my God.
And they'll shoot, and then they'll drive down the tracks a little farther. A lot of times they don't even have to leave the cars. But in destroying the buffalo, they've destroyed the subsistence economy for the Indians. So, federal Indian policy. First of all, you have a forced migration. Remember the Cherokee, the Trail of Tears? That's to Oklahoma. It's to the Great Desert, right? The Midwest is anything west of the Mississippi is the desert. The Mexican-American War and the decline of permanent Indian country, we basically get rid of Oklahoma, and we no longer have a specific area of common grounds to farm. Each family's given a separate plot. They're basically they're basically being forced to behave like white people, economically, politically, and everything else. And they're being deprived of their culture. Or you're basically uprooting their culture and trying to stamp it out. You want to be prepared. It's nearly 100% certain you're going to get a question on the Turner thesis and the Dawes Cemetery. Sand Creek and Wounded Knee. Sand Creek's a massacre during the Civil War. Wounded Creek is another one that they have some massacres that are going on during the Civil War while the Indians are breaking off their reservations. And you have also in your book this other painter that's active in this time. You can see now this is where, these paintings are during the Indian Wars. The earlier ones we saw the Indians and the ethnographers. With Remington, we're seeing sort of the conflict and the wars that are being conducted between the U.S. military and Indians. But these are famous paintings. Right? And actually, if this was more accurate, we'd see more black soldiers. Right? And you know why the black soldiers were called the Buffalo Soldiers, right?
No.
They told you in your book.
They did?
Yeah. Because their hair was like buffalo hair.
Really?
Because it's like,
That's what they said, Buffalo Soldiers. George Armstrong, Custer. Custer's, just one thing to remember that makes Custer so memorable is that his massacre happens in 1876. Does that ring a bell?
Bicentennial.
Well, not the bicentennial, but the centennial anyway.
I don't know, I was just reading your thing.
Centennial. But it comes as a terrible shock to people that this famous Civil War general has been massacred to the and his troops have been massacred to the last man as sort of an anniversary present for the United States. And that basically does not bode well for the Sioux. There's going to be Indian wars that are going to come along after Custer's last stand. Anyway, this is scientific expedition to the Black Hills. I put it in quotes because really what they're after is gold. Gold has been discovered in the Black Hills, and basically they're trying to get the Indians out so that the gold miners can come in, which is a very similar story to the Cherokee in Georgia. And Custer is running around, and his artillery can't keep up, and he basically leads himself off to an exposed position and finds the Sioux, and they massacre him. It's through his own stupidity. He gets massacred pretty much. And then the winter campaigns I talked about. But Custer is a famous figure in this. In the Indian Wars, I don't think you're going to get questions about the Indian Wars. Fortunately.